Gee, Zelda, why don't you tell us how you really feel? Okay, don't mind if I do. Welcome, because I'll tell you what are we now? Let's see, 46, 47, 48. Are we on day 48? No, I think we're on day 49. Whatever it is, it's too long. So I want to recap a few little things here. Now, the longer we go on here, the more I am convinced that someone has information and they're just not revealing it, or that someone, I've always said, I have never felt that Nanos was a part of any of this. But that doesn't mean, here's a question to you. That doesn't mean that he may not know, right? Hello, 149. Nancy, I could probably auction off these books and all the papers, right? I probably could. If it's not 149, my apologies. I think it's close to that, but I will be glad to correct if it is not. Let's turn back the clock. All right, I think we've got enough here. First of all, I want to turn back that clock because the second time I saw him for the press conference. So the second press conference. Sheriff, no. Oh, you know what? I was just reading about a very good banana bread recipe that I have, and I don't like to put nuts, and I wrote on there no nuts. So pardon for that faux pas. Nanos said that she was taken Saturday night, which was January 31st. Then he says that the family had the all clear. I'm going to say it that way. Okay? You know what I'm talking about. Did they really even take lie detector tests, polygraph tests? I don't know. He says so, but what can we believe? Now, I still have questions about, you know what I'm going to say? Well, maybe you don't. You know what I'm going to say about the adult protection services. There was a card left in the door. Did Nancy call? Oops, sorry, Nancy. Did Nancy call? Why did they show up all of a sudden? From my understanding, looking in the evidence portal, early on they had that it was, she put it in the door, January 31st, between 5 and 7 p.m. And then it was changed. Now it still may see that. It still may be that. But it was changed. That is a problem for me. Now, I heard today, you may not have heard, that Savannah is preparing for her second hiatus away from NBC. Evidently, she went back too soon. Evidently, there was too much going on with this last ransom note to TMZ. Do I believe it's real? No. I mean, I believe it's real that there's somebody behind it, but do I believe that they have footage and cameras and all of this on Nancy's last day? The answer is not only no, but heck no, right? That's the way it is. It's hard for me to believe anything because here's the thing. I have scoured a lot of different information. Some of it I know that's true. Some of it I don't know it's true. And quite frankly, do we have anything that we know other than Nancy is missing? That weekend of the 31st through the 1st of February. And this was January. What else do we know? Not too much. Only what's been fed to us by the esteemed. Now, here's something more interesting, though. The Pima County Sheriff's Department issued a statement today. They've just really kind of retracted a little bit. They've really gone easy and pretty much said, look, we understand that you want, and I'm paraphrasing now. It pretty much says, look, we understand that you want to get out there and you want to report on Nancy Guthrie. No matter who you are, streamers, mainstream media, could be anybody who has a dog in the race. We just ask you to be kind and considerate, responsible. Don't do anything unlawful. Well, here's my little answer to you. It's time, because I don't know why this hasn't happened so far, but it is time, Pina, that's a good one, Pima County Sheriff's Department, to get your little checkbook out, because there may have to be some settlements. As far as I know, all charges against all of those people that were arrested have been vacated or dropped or however. Now, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not law enforcement. Did you know the percentages of any type of abduction cases of the person knowing who has done it are very high? At least 82%, and even in some cases, much higher. It depends on the poll that you look at or the stats that you look at. When I saw Nancy that first night I did a remote viewing, you could go back and take a look at it. When I saw her raise up into the bed, in bed, when I saw that, she had a look on her face of familiarity. Someone was familiar. And then there was another look. And I think that there was someone behind whomever she felt was familiar. Another question that I have is, we are told who the last is. Who was the last that saw her that night of the 31st? Who was it? We are told that it is that person. But who was it really? I know that there was more than one. I know. And I think at least 3. Now, I'm going to tell you, I appreciate each and every one of you giving me your take on things. And I have been seeing some things about they feel that Nancy was carried out. And in the beginning, I thought that over someone's shoulder. But I want to tell you this. If you get anyone, let's just say average height, 5'9", 5'10", something like that. Nancy was a small little girl. Bless her. I think she was just over 5 foot. Savannah is a tall girl, but Nancy was shorter. That's okay. But imagine someone that basically has no life in them, and you're trying to hoist someone like that over your shoulder. She would be this. And quite frankly, that feels so much heavier than what she would be, because there's not, and I agree. And I also feel that she has had nosebleeds. I agree with that. But let's just say this, no matter what area that blood came from that was on her front easement, okay, that front foyer, that front porch little area that you walk in, the entryway, let's say that, it was not stepped in or stepped over. It was in a place, and the fact that it had already been dried, it would have had to been, because the porch guy, if in fact he did go up there, which I do believe that January 31st was the night that they were there because of the moonlight, of the moon phase. And you can go back and look, because I did a whole little thing of measuring the moonlight as to the trajectory of the moon in conjunction with the person who walked up onto the porch as to the timing. Approximately 2:30-ish in the morning, February 1st. So that pretty much, now I'm not an expert, I'm going to say that, but that pretty much nails it. I'm so glad to admit if I'm wrong, if somebody will come up with the facts and show me differently. But remember, I believe also that this person showed up January 11th. But let's just say that this was Porch Guy, and he was there. If Nancy had gone out earlier that day, look, it's hot there. It's also humid. If she did have those spatters on the front entryway, they would have dried by the time that Porch Guy got there. And a couple of them looked like they may have been scooted around a little bit. Instead of the perfect circle, there was one that kind of looked like a Pac-Man a little bit, But other than that, they oxidized very quickly. And the person whom that happened with, Nancy, that it was connected with, per some test, was still alive. So I agree. I want to think, but look, it's going to take at least 2 people to get her out of the house. And I saw that they took her out through the back. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I feel that. First of all, let's look at the front of Nancy's entryway. Now we're going to be looking from the front door, okay? So we're going to say this, the front door. Now we're looking here. Now here's the archway. Okay, I know that looks like a basket, but bear with me, my darlings, bear with me. Here we go, that's the archway. The Porch Guy came in from this direction. And then he came around here and up here, okay? Now, the odds of them taking her out the front door could be very low. And I'll tell you why. First of all, there is traffic that goes up and down those streets, and they did not want to take any chance of them trying to haul her out of there. Even with a wheelbarrow, even with something, because remember, this crime scene was tampered. Those tracks going up and everything, they could have been there after. We don't know, because we still know that the family went there before they called the police, and it was 56 minutes. So he came from this direction. Now, for me, that means back here is the drive. Back over here is the garage. Now, this is rough, okay? Obviously, this is the garage. Here is the door that goes into the garage, into her home. Okay? We go this way. So, if they went out through this way, or out the back door, pardon me, the back door is here. This is the garage. Back door is here. It would make sense, however this floor plan, however this plan, because I believe they were parked here. Because the floodlight was broken out. Why would you break a floodlight out of the back by the back door if you weren't going to utilize it? Yeah, that's right. I got that wrong. My bad. This is the garage here. I'm sorry. So we're gonna change this around. Yes, don't hire me to plan your next home. All right, so this is it. This is the garage. I got boomed up here. Here's the driveway. You see what I mean? So this lamp that was beside the door, the floodlight was broken. Why break a floodlight there when they should have been breaking something up here and nothing was broken? Because there was something broken there, and it was the Ring camera, the Nest camera from Google. But for this person to come this way means that they had to be in and around this area, around this driveway. I know, I'm sorry if I confused you. But I am convinced that they did it that way because, once again, the back door was propped open. Once again, I saw somebody go back in the house and get a spray bottle, and that was found in the garage. So there's things here, and you see there's the door here that goes into Nancy's house. So there are things here that just, and these are things, look, you and I have been going through these plans and over again till we all feel like we've been driven nuts, right? But there's one thing that I heard early on and I tend to believe, and that is that Nanos had a fishing buddy. And who was the fishing buddy? Well, we have two people I heard. One was Nanos, the other one, if this person heard of some things, would he cover that up? And why? Well, the reputation of someone else. I'm not saying that that's fact, I'm asking you. Because that kind of seems like it makes a lot of sense. Because every road that this investigation has gone down, there has been a full stop until they start getting called out on it. And when you look at this guy's background, would you put anything past him? Now look, I'm not saying that he's involved or he planned any of this. I'm not saying that at all. But do I feel that he found out some things in the aftermath and the after it happened? And he decided to just play it cool, boys. Real cool. Yeah, I think so. Let's get out the cards. Well, I know there's one thing you can't accuse me of, and that's being an architect or someone that builds floor plans. My apologies for that. I get thinking about what I want to say and I have to be careful. But I'm sorry if I messed that up and confused you. The reality is I feel that they went out through the back door, through the garage, and that way. Only because we have a little hint that that's the way they came up to the porch. But I believe that that porch guy was a signal. I've always thought that. It was a signal to someone that had already been inside. Let's ask the cards a few little things. I'm really digging this card deck for Nancy's case now. All right, we need to ask. And by the way, this is the first day of Mercury retrograde. I know a lot of other cases I've been seeing and watching and affiliated with, maybe an arm's length. A lot of stuff is being sifted to the surface today. Plan on it until at least the middle, toward the third week of July. We have a few weeks here. Don't worry, we'll live through it. We've lived through 3 Mercury retrogrades per year ever since we've been on this earth. We're going to live through this one. All right, so we need to know, my darlings, This star card, look how pretty she is. You would think she's a water sign, but she's not. This is an Aquarius. Nancy is an Aquarius, and her card comes out first. So this energy is telling me, oh boy, there's a lot more that's coming out. There's a lot to be said. More queens and the 8 of Pentacles again. The 7 of Cups. The King of Swords. More Pentacles. 5 of Pentacles. Strength card. More Pentacles. More Cups. And the Ace of Swords. Amazing. Let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. A 3 of Cups. Interesting. Very emotional time for some. And like I said, Savannah, now look, I don't wish any harm on anybody. Okay? I don't. But I also feel that by their actions, we shall kind of get an idea of what is happening. Now, I want to say this. I've seen several of the same email where there was an email that went to Nanos that said pretty much she didn't want the streamers and, all this other. Now, is that true? I don't know. There's a lot of those things that are coming out. I feel that it is, but I don't know. The fact that Nanos called the media and had them go out there right away, and I got to tell you this. I feel when it comes to her, if she says something, if she says jump, Nano says how high. That's how I feel about it. And I know many of you feel really bad and don't, and I do too. I don't wish this on, but there's some behavioral things here that I just can't get over. I just can't. The Queen of Wands and the King of Swords. Let's get Moisha. The Queen of Wands, creative. And I think this is Nancy telling us, look, at this point, we've got to all think a little bit more creative. Think maybe a little bit outside the box, because this 8 of Pentacles, and we got a lot of Pentacles here. Is it about money? Well, yes, to a certain degree. To the people that took her and to the people that did this, yes. But I feel that there was a bigger person that ordered this to go down that had a much bigger agenda. And that was sending a message. Sending a message. What kind of message, Zelda? The one that tells Savannah, oops, you pushed the envelope. Because I kind of feel that guy is still kicking, if you know what I mean. The 7 of Cups feels like almost in a dream state now, doesn't it? With these 5 of Pentacles, people feeling like they're broken. Actually, right now, we feel like this investigation is going nowhere, that it's broken, that it's cold. Remember what the 5 of Pentacles looks like. It's that depiction of that woman, and she's wrapped and they're barefooted, and that young person on crutches walking by a church and feeling like they're not getting any help whatsoever. But it's that recognition of what that card means, that look, they're not just standing there, they're moving. They're moving on because they know they got to do something, and whatever it is that they do, it's got to be better than what it is right now. And that's how I feel about this. This 8 of Pentacles goes from let's be consistent to now let's try to organize this and put some things together. But it feels like a dream state because we really haven't been there. But you know what? This 3 of Cups is a celebration card. And what was it that the family said? They wanted Nancy home. And this is Nancy. And I think Nancy's energy is like, look, okay, It's time to celebrate. But I don't know where they're going. Are they looking for the porch guy? I think that they're barking up the wrong tree. I'm not even so sure that guy is still around, either above the ground or below. I believe that there's a lot more cameras they could have checked. I believe that there's a lot more they could have done. Look at the neighbors. I mean, what was the nosy neighbor on Bewitched? You know who I'm talking about. Was her name Gladys? Well, I feel like I'm Gladys these days. Sometimes you hear something go outside and you always look. Sometimes if there's a big bang at night, I'll get up and I'll look out the window without turning a light on. You can't tell me that some of these neighbors don't have something somewhere, and that's why I believe maybe something was confiscated, or that perhaps this information has been held for certain particular reasons. Does Nanos feel that this was an accident caused by someone else, caused by someone close? Possibly. And because it doesn't take a lot of motive. Look at his background. And then let's try to think. If he were faced with something that he needed to be forthright with, why the pushback? This is like a seesaw with the FBI and with Nanos. This up and down and up and down. It's almost like tug of war. Red Rover, let the feds come over, right? And you see them try to break through, but they just seem like they've been, he's put a lot of stops, and it started with the DNA that went to Florida that he didn't even let them know about. Can things change? Yeah. Yeah, they can. A higher authority could step in, but I don't see that quite yet. But there's a possibility that that could happen. Because right now, here is, with these two cards together, the Ace of Swords, which is an air element. It's communication, but it's also a timing card that tells us now the timing is getting pretty right. The Strength card, the infinity sign. She's got a little watch there, a little pendant there. And look at this kitty. He's pretty tame. She's tamed him. How? Well, she couldn't overcome him with strength. So she had to overcome this kitty with knowledge. Oh, yes. Because that's how you can take your power back. Not with strength, but with knowledge. And having this be communication and a timing card, watch and see, Mercury retrograde brings things to the surface. This Four of Cups. Interesting little card. Emotional, pulling things together, discussing things. Disgusting things, but discussing things. All very emotional. When are we going to get a true... When are we going to get a true update? When is... Oh, well, he wanted to come out. Let's take him. That's Nancy. This is the female card. When you're reading these fortunes, and by the way, this is my grandmother's deck. If you haven't seen that before, here is the box. This is called a tuck. A card box is called a tuck. I've kept it just because, right? You can buy these. You can look for them on eBay, Amazon, but be cautious. There are two types. And you want to look at the back cover and make sure that you've got this one. There's also a Spanish version. If you want that, that's great. But if you want an English version, be careful. Read. Make sure that you know exactly which deck you're getting. I learned on this deck. Because it's kind of a cartomancy. Boy, I wish my grandmother was here. She could look at this, but here's the thing. Poor grandma, we would have been taken down right away. She would have just been here and going, name, 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 name. She would have been just naming names. Bless her. On the bottom of the deck, we have those kitties that pretty much denote strife. But this is a card of suspicion, my darlings, even though it is a heart and it's emotion. And you think, oh, heart cards are going to be good. You can be very suspicious and little something about cats that maybe some of you don't know, because it shows these cats playing. The cats are really kind of flattery, but sometimes they foretell a personal injury when it comes to this particular deck now, not the other Cartomancy decks. But also a cat. When a cat gets into trouble or has an injury, they will purr. And I know that seems like conflicting because you think, oh my gosh, my cat, when I pet my cat, he purrs, and I just don't understand. Because purring can be self-soothing. So coming out in this particular case, and we're near this man who, that's where we're really kind of sort of reading on today, this particular no-knees here, no knock. It tells us what is he doing? Is he self-soothing? Is he licking his wounds because he's had so much pushback from the feds before? What is he doing? Well, here we go. In between the two of them, this Seven of Hearts is all about fulfillment. The stork is not so much about having a child, but it's everything about having a brand new beginning. It also changes and also talks about a change of residence, which could be even from a distance. Okay. In the meanwhile, that house has been empty for 5 months. A lot of activity as far as I'm concerned in that house, and its energy. Lights going on here and there. That can happen when there are energy surgeries or surges? Whoa, Zelda, while there are energy surges. Thank you. But this one gets to me. And this one too, because look at this. We've got a King of Diamonds. So this is someone who is involved. It is an air element. There's more coming. You see this? These obviously are based on very old images made before anything, internet, email, text. And you had to have snail mail, or you had to have word of mouth or the newspaper to tell you what was happening. But this king, I believe, is someone who is involved. And whoever is writing those ransoms, we should be hearing that pretty much again. Now this Thursday is that plea adjustment. I'm going to say it that way. They're going through this Calara, whatever his name is, right? You know, is going, he's changing his plea. And it's not that he's going to be not guilty, because he was pleading not guilty. He's going to take a deal. It is a plea hearing. So what does he have to say? He knows something, and evidently he knows something pretty good, because you don't get plea deals from the feds unless you've got something rock solid, because they don't play. Feds don't play. They just don't play around. They're not like, they will wait like a little snake in the corner, and they'll strike when the iron is hot. And that's what they'll do. This card, we also have a timing card. Now that is a fall timing card, but look here, it's an 11. And this tells us that there is a master builder number, first of all, and that is a foundation. Someone started this mess, and it was from an upper level, upper echelon. And then others walked in. Yes, I do believe that it's about money, but this spawned for two different reasons. The upper guy wants to send a message. I think message received. The people that did it wanted money. I think they're SOL, right? You know what SOL is. This Four of Clubs. Oh, I love to see that in this particular way because it just kind of validates everything that we are seeing. And look here, we've got the key. It's amazing, isn't it? This Four of Clubs in the medieval times when Cartomancy was being read, and yes, the tarot came from the Cartomancy. Most people think it's other way around. But this tells us when you look down upon it, just like we are, bird's eye view, that it looks like a four-poster bed. I've always said the fours in Cartomancy, as far as my readings and my information, my meanings, have always been borderline. Just kind of says, yeah, you know, it's like that long lost cousin that you have, and you go and visit and you have such really good news, and then your long lost cousin shows up and says, yeah, but you know, are you sure that's gonna work out? I don't know. You may want to doubt. That's the fours. But what does this mean? It means that someone has been hoodwinked. Someone has been swindled. Could it have been Nancy, or could it have been really all of us into thinking a particular narrative? It means not to trust. But I'll tell you, the big meaning is that someone is in bed with the devil. What does that mean? Well, they have elected to join the dark side. Someone who is in bed with the devil means even if you don't want to, and you go that far, you're pretty much stuck until it comes to the bitter end. The only way that you can get unstuck is use the biggest power of all, and that is the truth. This card can mean success, however, if it is around not so good cards, because it's this one, and then the ones lying underneath it, it becomes pretty much unlucky. And you know, you can't keep a secret like this for long. Last but not least, this fox. He basically says don't trust him. He basically says he's an acquaintance. Oh my goodness. That was an epiphany. Oh my goodness. It pretty much says he is an acquaintance with those who are at fault. And it pretty much says that he acts upon betrayal. And basically to distance yourself from this person. Wow, just wow. I know what y'all think too. Do me a favor, join me Thursday night for Help I'm Haunted. Thank you so much for being here, my darlings. Let me know in the comments what's next. I'll see you soon.